in mischief, oh mighty man. The goodness of God endures continually. Your tongue devises mischief like a sharp razor working deceitfully. You love evil more than good, and lying rather than speak righteousness. Selah. You love all devouring words. Oh, your deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy you forever. He will take you away and pluck you out of your dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. The righteous also shall see and fear and laugh at you. This is a man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, because you have done it, and I'll wait on your name. Why boast you in mischief, almighty man? The goodness of God endures continually. Your tongue devises mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. You love evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah. You love all devouring words. Oh, you deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and take you out of your dwelling and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. The righteous also shall see and fear and laugh at you. Oh, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever. I will praise you forever. You
Good morning. It is January 7th, and this is your host, Amelia Duran, and you're listening to the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth, and we are live on, and I'm on the heels of a panic attack, I guess. Just getting some crazy stuff. I got Eugene with me on the line. Eugene, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Amy.
So, I got this crazy friend saying crazy stuff online, and then I got this other friend saying crazy stuff. Just crazy. And it's making me crazy. And, yeah, it's not cool. So I called my friend Eugene this morning, and he gave this friend a call. Because you're in my court, right?
Got it. I thought you were kidding at first, Amy, because I thought it was goofy. Because, we run a business and take care of things here, and we're getting ready, and we're dealing with the FBI. They're having a war between each other right now, and see Trump's trying to straighten it out. And basically it's the people at the top that screw around and say these things. And they're lying about Trump just like they did in our case. But when they're running into the Clinton administration, the Obama administration, and Bush administration, they're the same thing. There's no Republicans and Democrats. Let's face it here, Amy. Since I didn't want to even come out and say this because we're into business, but it's all the same game. The FBI come by your house because they're told to come or this or that or take something. But they're just low-class people, too, that are patronage workers. And we dealt with that already in the Supreme Court with that. And we go back. We got a letter from Ginsburg I'll give to you, Amy, about coming into the Supreme Court. But what happens is the clerks try to stop you before you get in. But when you, know Trump and you know them, and one of our friends who's about 7 feet tall, he's like a wrestler with Tully, his name is. And he was a wrestler, with Hulk Hogan and them people, and it's a business, and basically it's a show, so they got to sign things out, so we know how the whole world is bullshit. But I thought you were kidding when you said that. I thought you were just saying that. But then when I called the guy up yesterday, and he lives in San Domingo in the Dominican Republic, so he must have, internet, that crazy thing that everybody uses out there with groups to do this and do that. Well, we're business people. We don't want to bother with this. I don't want you being worried and scared about crap like that or about the FBI because their leaders send them in there to scare you to do this, to do that, and do that. And it's all BS. And it's changing now because these other politicians have stole too much money and they're trying to knock out the middle class, and it ain't good for business. So basically, we have to do what we're doing. It took a while for us to get this, organized on a special basis of going in. But we have enough on their leaders, which is skeletons in the closet, and the people in the Supreme Court and everything else, that it hurt them. So when I talked to this guy yesterday, he talked pretty good English for being from, the Dominican Republic. So I just told him, to cut it. And I said it in a nice way. And I said, thank you. I told him all that. And I said, somebody's sending you out there to scare this girl or hurt this girl and her kid. That's trouble, because you're taking me away from my business here. And my friends don't like that in New York. And we got many Dominican Republicans, whatever they are, Dominicans in New York and stuff like that. So, and these anarchists and all this stuff, and these guys dressed in black and breaking windows and doing that, that's all crap. Because when you catch one of them or two of them alone, they'll spill their guts out to anybody. So we have no time for this crap. And if you want to talk on the radio, that's your business, Amy. If they say things on the radio, that's fine. Everybody's got a right to do that stuff. But when you start treating a woman with a kid and stuff like that, and that's not feeling well, she's going to be better soon, because we're going to make sure of that once we get over with this crap. But you can't be doing this stuff. And you can't be afraid of these people because they're garbage. They're not the real deal. See? So in other words, when I see them fighting and rating on Virginia and doing that crazy crap, half of them were fighting like they were girls or guys or whatever they were, or whatever. I couldn't tell you what they were, but you grab one of them alone, talk to them in a nice way that you got to, and then if you have to dispose of the situation, you dispose of the situation. Now, we know the guy in the Dominican Republic, if he's just goofy or whatever he is, because we got tracked to San Domingo right away within 10 minutes. I didn't want to know his name because we can find out anytime we want. And basically who sent him, we can find that out in minutes. Just like the government finds out, everybody finds out. Everybody's got their own people all over the place. Money talks, no matter where you look. But the point is just whoever's doing it out there, don't be doing that, because you're going to play a game with the wrong people someday, and it's not going to be nice. See, you got all these little gangs and groups that are doing this and that, but this is for real out here. And we got a big job to do out here. We can't be bothered with this stuff. And I told him, you just tell him off the next time. Don't say nothing. Just give me a call. We'll find out who it is. We'll find out who sent them. We'll find out everything within days. But it distracts from business. Please don't distract us from business. Because then I have to answer to people, too, and then they get mad. So basically, if you want the truth, my friend Tully was on with the head of the FBI on the Facebook yesterday. And you know how they give you that bull, put you in pass, you got to go through this, and you got to go through that. He just told him, hey, to the a-hole that was answering the FBI answering the phone, I'm talking to the guy on the internet. Will you put me through? And he put it right through to the director. So I'm just telling you that's true. You can check on the internet on Tully's thing, and stuff like that. So, basically, what you're just saying out there is leave this girl alone. She wants to do her show, let her do her show. She's got a little bit of problem. She's got to get well and healthy. Everybody gets sick, and she's personal friend. And if you're going to be doing this, then you're just going to have to stand up and see who's better at what we do. And, I don't want to bother with these low-class people because it's a waste of time.
Well, I'm not going after, like, regular Joe Schmo. I'm going after...
Yeah, I know. But there's Joe Schmoes, too. See, what you
there is Joe Schmoes, but it's not regular civilians.
The big people, they got these big jobs. They're put in place by business people. We know the game. The game's played up high. That's why I wouldn't go on the internet or have a show or do something like that, because you're just out there crying. Most of it is like being in a gigantic bar where everybody whines to one another about what's happening. And it takes years to change the system as it's been because the people are all afraid. See, I understand this, and they use fear on you. And basically when you fear things, then you can't do things right.
Well,
see,
you got there's some bad apples.
From knowing not to listen to anybody, just listen to yourself and realize what's going on. Because it's like the law. The law is just right and wrong and common sense. It ain't got nothing to do with this Harvard Law School guy or this guy or that guy that's sent to school. Because think about this, Amy. You can go to the best school of law, and you've got to come back and cheat and lie. What good are you as a lawyer? What good is it paying you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to do something when you're just going to cheat anyway? You can do it yourself. You can just basically come down to ask an honest question, ask a question that makes a yes or no answer, and all you do is you asking that question, the answer. So this guy's got nothing to do. So what we got on them, you know what our problem is right now? We're going in, we got so many things on them, they can't figure out which ones to use. That's how much evidence we got on these guys. I mean, it stinks. It's so bad. This is just a joke. And then everybody that reads the case and that, and what we're going to do, too, is we're waiting for this guy to get back from Mexico so he's got Westlawn and all that. We're going to write to them and tell them about how you end the case, that it's wrong, what you're saying. So we're going to put a thing on them and give them a warning that that's not how it happened. It's been forged up there in the federal courts, and that they better get it the right way now, because now that we're coming and we have people that will let us come into the Supreme Court. Like I said, we got a letter from Ginsburg, and she says, come in as a group. Well, you can't get in as a group because you don't pass these little people because they think they're big. So we had to come around them, go to the big people now that you got Trump in there, and then get into the court. And then we'll take care of that situation. See, because you got to remember this. You always have a buffer, and they got buffers, these big guys. Like the big guy from the FBI or somebody else, and they don't get this stuff right to them. But as long as you write them an affidavit and give them something, and they answer, anybody answers from their group, they're responsible. I made that a law in my case. They didn't want my case to be a precedent because there's so much in there. They can't make you act like a lawyer or be like a lawyer. They got to help you. That's already done. That's a precedent case. And once we get all this out there, they're screwed. But as long as they get you people to believe this crap, and half of these people that are out there, Amy, that are telling you this BS and leading you the wrong way, they don't even know what the hell they're doing. What is the internet? People want to make some money off some book doing cut and paste, doing this crap. We ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? That's just a hobby. And half of those groups on there were, fiddlers,
He just emailed me. He says, he just emailed me. He said, Amelia, you got me into unnecessary trouble by giving my number to the Chicago mob, who were the ones...
Don't talk about Chicago. We're talking about New York, Chicago, Montreal, because it's a bigger state thing now, but don't even use that word. Just be cool about everything there, because we'll take care of this. But the point is that you got to understand...
I mean, what does he expect? If you send me a threat, what do you expect?
Here. You see, and when you interfere with somebody's business, people get mad. And then they have to make a point of this. And you can be very nice to people and tell them, drop it, leave the girl alone. Or else, what can I tell you? You just get so nice for so long.
Yeah, I mean, who does he think I am? Like, he knows the content what I do in my blog. Everybody knows.
Well, you're doing exactly
I'm not. I'm not going to take it as a joke.
Now here's the point. He's comical. He's cool. There's nothing wrong with this man. If he's rich, so what? Don't you think the rest of these on the other side are rich too and taking your money? What have they done you for years? They give all these guys a job. We know the game. I've been in the game since 8 years old. My grandfathers, everybody even tells me this stuff. I learned this down like Indians on what they tell you, and they tell you the truth. The point is, you got stuff on everybody. Where he fixed the votes, look, everybody that gets a job has to do something wrong so they have something over their heads. I don't. I was taken care of by everybody, so I'm clean as a whip, on this stuff. But the point is they try to stop you, Amy. They try to stop you just by scaring you and doing this. Don't be afraid of these people. They ain't crap. I mean, if you had one of them alone or with somebody else and you just appear by their house and stuff like that, well, it's bad news. You know what I mean? Because we ain't going there for nothing. I mean, you're ruining what we're doing. I mean, please, don't get involved in this shit. And at least, I don't know why they don't leave you alone. If you want to talk about Trump or you want to talk about this, that's fine. If you want to say something you don't like about somebody, that's fine too. Or if they don't say something about you, but don't go threatening no children and women like that. That's a punk that does that. That's a moron. So I'm basically, and then they'll talk and they'll talk and they'll talk. And when the time comes, they ain't going to talk. They're going to be in their pants crapping. See, but they figure they can pick on you that you're alone and stuff like that.
They figure I'm alone, I'm a single mom, and they think that it's funny to play these games, and it's not funny to me. It's not a joke.
It'll be funny when it happens, the wrong way around, man. Like, you're disturbing business. Do you understand that out there? See, when you're disturbing a personal friend of somebody, you're disturbing business. And then you're disturbing a personal friend of these other people. They ain't going to like that. I mean, my God. You got to just watch what you're doing and saying. Just be normal out there. Don't be crazy. People run around with masks on.
And I'm not looking to profile regular Joe Schmo that is actually paying for his crimes. That's not the issue that we're having. There's an internal issue within the government, and we're at war.
And the government. The government's what? The government. I mean, everybody believed in what? John Wayne and all these heroes.
Well, there's some bad apples. There's some bad apples in
money talks.
I
hate to say that. I mean, I don't want to come out like this, but that affected me yesterday when you called me because I didn't think so at first. And then I had my people check about where it came from. And I said, wow, Sandra Domingo, she's right. I said, I thought she was kidding around or she just wasn't feeling good. And I said, wow, what is this? These guys are really playing this game? So what happens is they probably have somebody in the group that can't stand you, call to somebody from offshore, and then they come and they call you and they make off of you, then you check on the phone where it comes from and that, and then you get scared, wow, they're sending somebody to get me. Well, you know what? These people are such idiots that if they're sending somebody, anybody can send somebody to get them. What's the difference here? We don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. And if you got to go on the internet to do all this talking and all this crap, they ain't worth nothing. I mean, I talk with you on here, Amy, just regular, like we always talk. And like I said, you're a personal friend. and we're going to try to do the best we can for you. But this upsets me a little bit. I mean, I don't sound upset because I don't get up. I'm laid back. But the point is, I don't like that. That's crazy. You know, you got a little kid you're taking care of and doing these things, and you enjoy being on the radio. That's your privilege. See, that's the point, you know. But see, everybody has to have a showdown someday. And we'll see how that works when you have a showdown. See, we'll see what you can say. And these people that talk or brag, or the FBI that comes through your door, they're just told to do that to scare you and impress you. See, they know they can do that to certain people. Certain people they can't, because you got shit on their leaders that'll put them away for years and years and years, because everybody's got something on them. Because don't think that you don't get to be in power by not having nothing on you. Because the ones that run the show always have something on somebody. And nobody has their job for life. Don't go believing that crazy shit that I'm a judge for life, I'm this for life. Nah, they got things on you, and you go bye-bye when they want. So, in other words, we're straight from
I mean, it's not a joke. Like, to tell me this stuff in the blog and the radio show, the type of radio show that I do.
Go ahead.
The type of radio show that I do, to tell me that kind of stuff, and to have people, you know, contacting me and actually say this stuff, I'm not going to take it lightly, like, oh, it's a joke, ha ha ha. You know?
Amy, not to cut you off, but see, what you do then in that situation is you have to prove a point. And once you prove that point, that's it. See, you go so far with these people. Like, I was shocked. I thought you were kidding and all this clown stuff. But when I found out the guy was from there, and from San Domingo, we found out right away and who the guy is and what it is. I mean, my God, but my guess is that he was told by somebody else in his group. Who's in a group? I mean, man, this is business. He was in a group. You know, we are a gang or something? You know, we got a cartoon? I mean, what is this? You know, you're ruining business. You know what business is? Don't do that. And then they get somebody that's jealous and says things, or they say things to you because, you know, you got to get, you know, fixed up, and you will get fixed up. Everything's fine, man. There's no problem with that. But the point is, let's finish this first, and we can take care of the situation. But this is a big thing, and you interrupt my time in doing this. I mean, we've been doing this for years, getting these guys into a big situation. And you guys got Trump out there, and you can laugh at Trump and say he's mental. Well, they're all saying he's mental because he's not doing it their way. It's changing. It's not shake hands, get a free job, get some money, do this. It's a point where he's coming out there and saying, let's do this the right way. He's a businessman in a special way. So, in other words, he's running the country as a business, and that's what you want. Mm-hmm. So what are you people mad at the guy for? And if you're mad, so what? You know what? These guys never did nothing for you. They all think that they all kiss butt of somebody, like, you know, in Chicago and stuff like that in New York. But, you know, these guys are idiots. They ain't nobody. The ones that come on TV and talk to the mayors and this, what power do they have, really? They're put in there by business people. But let's be serious here. So, in other words, Donald Trump will probably do the best for you ever had. He's probably the best president we ever had because he's the only one that will say the truth. And when he tweets and talks, hey, it's like talking to somebody in a bar. He's telling you like a regular person. He's acting like a street guy, and that's what you want. You don't want no idiot talking to you in court like all these big words were one word. I went to school and I learned one word, and it's got 5 different meanings, and there's 5 different ones. No, just tell it like it is. When you're fraud, you're fraud. You can't even talk about fraud because fraud doesn't exist. So like when someone blames you for something and you're in court, all you just tell them is prove it. Don't go denying it. Why deny it? Just give them credibility. You don't do that crap.
Why I have you here on the show, share with us a little bit about your case and the fraud, about the fraud on the court.
Case, which was a phony from the beginning, you know, because it was written up by 3 different guys. But see, they used that case to keep away from Nixon, who was in the court at that time. And so they gave a contract out, which was a Chapman decree. And out of anybody, there must have been 100,000 people doing it since 1972. We'll come back in late. I was just a kid when we went and do this. And basically, it didn't exist. So they tried to make it exist and make it into a real law. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, they lost the case to me. They were like, I mean, here's the point. They were forged, and when you see the transcript, you laugh your butt off, and all the stuff we got on them. Like, we got the court reporters talking to my lawyer saying, we're going to try to change the docket, but you know how that is to do. They made it into mishmash, you know what I mean? So when we really get it out there, you're going to see all the forging that's really done. And see, if you're the only person that's ever won, the point is, you can do all the forging you want in the case. Do this, do that, send the papers in. But at the end, if you can prove you're not the person, and you weren't even there that day, and if you can prove politics, that's what the chat room was about. And you gave Daley over $1,000, which was a lot of money. I mean, then, it's not money now, but, but the point is, you win. I mean, what else can you prove? And then they try to change things and make more cases and more cases and go on and go on and go on. But what they're doing is making better damage for you than what they're doing when you hit them with the last one. So we got to Ginsburg. We had this woman go up there, hand everybody individually one of these letters, because they're all lawyers, you know what I mean, even the Supreme Court justice. So we told them. So you couldn't get through because you had the Clintons blocking it, you had the Obamas blocking it, and you had the Bushes. So now we got Trump in there. We can get in there, and there's no problem now. We should be okay and taken care of. But basically, let's go into it when it's over. We'll talk to you more about that and Amy. But the basic point is, everything is a game here. Everything is, I don't know if any of you got due process, because if you didn't get your audio tape, which we had in the book that they tried to squash, and I don't really care because I was giving them money to Linda's family that she died and that stuff. It wasn't, I didn't want to, I didn't.
The book is called The Death of the Justice System, and it's available on, is it Crown? Is it?
I don't.
Well, it's on Barnes. I think it's on Barnes and Noble.
You know what I mean? They just told them what was happening. They used it. But what's good about the book, Amy, is that there's 40, 50, 60 things in there that it's between them. It's not even me alleging it. They're telling each other. The court reporters are talking to one another. The government's talking to one another. They're doing all kind of crazy things. And they hand you all this stuff. Like Rule 11 now. That rule is really good, because if you do have it or if you don't have it, let us know. But it's not from the district court. It's not from the federal court. It's from a takeout thing. And that means when a lawyer takes something out or the government takes something out upstairs, they can only look at it in a certain place. Only your U.S. attorney can take it out and take it to his office. But they got to bring it back. If they don't bring it back under the rule that we did, and we had to go and change, look at things to get this, because they were hiding all these black things out and do stuff. And we went and got this, and it showed that if you take anything out and you don't put it back, you can't make another motion. So what do you need a lawyer for, to go up there to the Supreme Court if they can't come up? I mean, they can't come up. They can't do anything. They can just try to hold you back. So once you got Trump in there now, and he's a different kind of guy, well, we can go and do what we want up there now. Just to wait for a year until he gets in solid, and this is it, and go in there and do what you got to do. And send everybody an affidavit. They don't have to answer the affidavit after 30 days. You must assume you're correct. It's just like on a transcript. If a person doesn't sign a transcript after 1 year, it's good. The transcript means he signed it. See, a lot of people don't know that stuff, the real kind of law and stuff. I'm not a lawyer, but of course I would never want to be a lawyer. And we got guys that were sent in there and just became legal aids, but are brilliant as lawyers and judges and stuff like that, and people that we know that are actually, professors and that, but they don't want to be bothered, because then the government go and bothers them and then bother each other. It's like childish thing to do, you know what I mean? Now maybe things will turn around different and everything will be okay, and you'll be okay, Amy, and stuff like that. But
what do you think about
childish stuff? You know what I mean?
It is, but to me, like, I'm not gonna play around. I mean, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, okay, I forgive you. It was a joke," No.
You're serious about your business and you're serious about your show. I kid around a little bit too much, I know, and that's my fault. But, it's just like talking with you over a cup of coffee or something. I never drank coffee until this year. They told me it's healthy, and boy, I really feel healthy. You know what I mean? So it must be working. So, I never drank it before.
What do you think about the UN coming into Chicago and
such, everything is such BS, and everybody worries about this. The UN. What is the UN? We pay for these.
Well,
guys.
is there martial law? Is there going to be martial law in Chicago?
Well, there's always been martial law because, hey, look, man, you're always fighting a war. You're in their martial law when you're fighting a war. So when they say you got a war on poverty, war on drugs, war on this, war on that, you're in a war. You're under the Black Powers Act anyway, the War Powers Act. I mean, come on. I mean, think about it. It ain't going to change anything. I mean, here's the point. You haven't been taken care of in 30, 40 years or whatever it is. You've been around 30 years, yeah. Okay, I know about it. But then I know about how they did this when my grandfather told me about Kennedy and the whole crap like that, and then they put their people in power. See, it's not the guys that run the show, because your president is there every certain amount of time. So it's the people they put in place, like the Speaker of the House Ways and Means and stuff like that. Those are the jobs that run the situation and stay there for good. And then think about this. Think about this, Amy. I don't know if anyone ever talked this way. I'm just saying it to you to just show you some information in the morning. Your mayor of a city controls the senators who get you the U.S. attorney. Now think about this. All they have to do is the U.S. attorney give the mayor, and he can be a stool pigeon, and he gets out of anything as long as he just does nothing to bother the government. He doesn't go into federal court with a shackman or anything like that. He stays away from the business. So he's controlled by the U.S. attorney in the courts, who his senators put in, who he put in. So they give him rights not to be busted in, say, Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles or anything, because he's protected by the people he put in.
So I have a question.
It's a circle. See what I mean, Amy?
Yeah, I have a question.
Circle. So actually the guy that's being protected by the U.S. attorney is the guy that put the people in who put him in. You know? See, you know, it's so funny. I mean, like, when I listen to some of these things on the internet and talk with you people and stuff like that, it makes me laugh that the people don't know what's going on. They can't figure it out.
Yeah,
I knew when I was 8.
Until, like, some of this stuff is worked out and we've weeded the bad apples out.
Yeah, it's a game like that. And, like, threatening you, that's so childish, you know? Maybe you're going to put a dead chicken on your door or something like that. You know?
Well, I mean, what did he expect? He thinks I'm not going to take it seriously? Like, he thinks this is just a joke?
People that do that
yeah, I'm going to respond accordingly.
So,
and
you don't do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unless you're for real, don't do it. You know, unless you're willing to just back it up and stand there, then you can do it. Okay, that's fine. We'll see who's better. You know, I mean, because you got to look at it this way, Amy. If they win, you're dead. Okay, so what? You're not worried. If you win, they're gone. You don't worry. You're still not worrying, right?
Well, you know, if they win, I mean, the way that society and culture is now based on a flesh market as the economy. I mean, it's human enslavement. It's modern day Babylonian slave law, debtor's law. I don't know. I mean, what kind of life is that? Like, what kind of life is that for my children, for my grandchildren?
See, you're a good person. You're worried about the future, and you're worried about things. You think these people are really worried about global warming and stuff like that? They're worried about themselves. They just say this stuff so they can get money and do this stuff and have something to say. You know what I mean? Because everybody wants something to say out there, you know, and be heard and all this crap. But here's the point, man. The point is, if you really come down to the nitty-gritty of this stuff, it's all based on money and what can you do for me now. So in other words, and then the patronage work comes from, I guess, the Spanish word patron. So in other words, all you people that are patronage workers out there are under rule to your guy, and your guy's under rule to somebody else. So if he asks you to cheat, if he asks you to do this, asks you to do that, you do it because he controls your job and your way of life. You realize that patronage is illegal, and even the FBI said when we were talking with them, said patronage is a crime. Because you're controlling it, and then under the First Amendment rule, we've got that beaten because...
Well, it was also determined during the Nuremberg trials as well to be a crime.
See, nobody's got the right to fire you just because they don't like you. That's bull. You're protected under the First Amendment on that stuff. So basically, when they hire you, they've hired you. So if they say, well, it's my thing, I control you. You can't. You can't do it because there's a damage to that. So in other words, you got to understand completely what's being said out there. So what you're basically saying about Babylonians and this and that, I've done history before and stuff like that too. It's all the same game. You're doing the same thing that people done hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Just the cars, the clothes, and the people, and the ideas have changed. And basically, when you see these guys wrecking schools because nobody can talk or nobody, you know how silly that is? They're just costing you money out there.
Mm.
I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, it's ridiculous just because someone wants to say a different speech or say something else. Here's what the problem is.
So, Eugene, I have a question. I have a question for you.
Their voters. When a voter has his own mind and doesn't control by somebody else, then you can put Joe the bartender in there. He might be a better president than anybody or anybody else. That's what Trump is proving right now. Here's a guy that was on World Wrestling, did a good job, had a good show. He's right what he's telling you. And he got to be president, and he's doing a good job. The economy's up. People are going back to work. And what he's really doing is he's basically giving jobs back to the people that haven't got a lot of smarts that go into things. And that's not their fault. My mom and dad were real stupid. My grandfather was a Mensa. So in other words, see what I mean? You can have all kinds of different people in your family. So the point is that don't mean I don't love them because they're stupid, you know what I mean? But the point is, let's face facts. My grandfather told me to listen to them because you're smarter than them when you're a kid. Just obey the rules for them and just, you know, go along with the show. So that's what got me to be able to talk like this and do like this. I don't care. See, I mean, this is just my opinion of how I am. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? But the point is, Amy, is everybody's got to understand Pat in life is Pat's just to be happy out there, enjoy your life, and do good. You know what I mean? And, you know, not have it bad out there. There's always going to be bad things, good things, and everything else. But make your life as happy and as easy as it could be. See what I mean? And Trump is doing a good job because, actually, I don't think he's a Republican or a Democrat. He's just a guy and a businessman. And that's the first time everybody's mad at him.
Well, he is a du jour man, and the people, he maintains his citizenship, and the people are the largest branch of the government. We do have the First and Second Amendment. We have the right to free speech and to express ourselves.
Yeah, but you know what you just said there, Amy, is true. But here's the point. Always show the First Amendment in any one of your cases, because the First Amendment contains every other amendment. It came from that. Now, the reason being is usually if you look at the Supreme Court, they got to take a First Amendment case. So that's why they brought up all these other amendments, so they don't have to take all these cases. And a lot of these cases go through the clerks, and the clerks just throw them out and do what they want to do. But we've caught them. We've caught the ones in the Supreme Court, the clerks, and everything. We know exactly what we're doing here, and it takes time because you have to see how to get it out. See, and that's the point. So we should be done in a while here. This is the last thing, so I can eventually we can help out and do what we're doing with you, you know, and stuff like that. And basically, I'm going to say it on the radio, and I don't care. I mean, what do I care what anybody else thinks? I know what the score is, you know what I mean? And I know how it runs. But and everybody out there that's a lawyer, they know they can't say nothing. They'll be disbarred. They got to take their oath to the bar first, and they can't do anything. And you know what? Think about this, Amy. When they take your case, then they're responsible for you, but they're responsible to the other side for you. So, in other words, it's up to them to throw the case. So, like when I was first doing my case, I knew that the lawyers were good for about 90 days until they got their stuff in there. So what you do is you go in there and use your head, because, you know, if you grow up in this, you know how to handle it. So you go in there and ask them a question. In 90 days, you ask them the same question in a different way. If they change their tune, then they sold you out. So you go on to another lawyer, if you don't know the law, and you get them for 90 days. And then if you get about 6, 7 lawyers, you got the whole case for yourself, and you can bust them. And then if you realize common sense on how to ask the questions, you can get it done. Because, look, the case that I had, in Westlaw and everybody else got it wrong at the end because they changed that into something else because they were trying to save money. But we can show that now. They were like trying me for the case 3 times. When I was in there with Duff, and Duff was talking to this ex, he says, what, do you want to try the case again? He says, yeah, can we try one more? He says, you can't. He says, you can't beat this guy. He's got the winning hand. Don't you get it? Because I had the evidence that I wasn't there. I had the evidence that I gave the money. So with everybody else, their lawyers were improving politics. See, and there's another couple things in here that we got that's really good, too, is they took out one guy's testimony because he was a boss. And what me and him did is we went in there, got the same witnesses. They didn't know we didn't know each other because we were from different areas, different kind of people. And we depositioned the same guys and matched up the depositions and found out what they were lying about. See, that's how you catch them. See, you have to catch them and twist the law on them. use the way they make the law against them. That's the key.
In your opinion, would you say that
So, like,
that
you
this
never try to
war,
prove
this
you didn't do it,
information war
because
that we're in
it's usually BS. Let them prove that you did do it. Then you go and you make them show it when you counteract stuff you got, and then they can't prove anything. So basically, it's common sense.
So,
Amy?
so I have a question.
Go ahead, babe.
I'm sorry. I have a question. So this war, I think we're pretty much. I mean, would you say it's fair to say we're deeply entrenched in an information war that is the second revolution?
They went too far. They went too far with these modern things.
Yeah, but would you call it? Would you label it a second revolution?
Think about the guys in power. They think of everything to find out where you're at, to count on what you're doing, and all using this stuff. But they don't realize that other people can use it against them, and they went too deep into this, where everybody gets everything on everybody, and they don't know how to use the power. You know what I mean? And somebody goes against them. So think about this. Did you realize that the guy from Korea, the little guy, I can't say his name.
Yeah, Kim Jong Un, the guy with the button.
Coffee Joe in the morning. I mean, come on. Because he doesn't like Clinton. So,
sorry, I had to make a joke.
About here? I'm being serious with you. That if you can check on it, he watches Coffee Joe, Coffee or Mug, or I watch once in a while, see that, and then watch the other show on Fox and that, and see them.
Well, apparently, this guy has a button, and then Trump tweets, "Well, I've got a button too, and it works."
Yeah, I can't. You were breaking up. I didn't hear you on that one.
Well, I guess, Kim Jong-un, or the Korean dictator, he has a button, and then Donald Trump tweets, "I've got a button and it works." Got a bigger button.
See, that got to go through a lot of things before they do that stuff and push the button. He's just telling him that. Now think about this. The Koreans weren't talking for how long? So here's what you do in politics in a case, too. I'm going to be serious with you on this one. I'm just letting you in on this because it's early in the morning because they pissed you off yesterday, and then, that made me a little mad, and I don't get mad. But here's the case now. When you do a case, and that case shows you why to get rid of a judge or somebody because they made a bad ruling in that case, or a lawyer, they point you to another case that they got rid of the judge for because they don't want you looking into the original case. See, that's the key. That would be the same thing with the guy from Korea now. Now, if he's worried about Donald Trump, he don't want to show his people that he's worried about Donald Trump. So he'll go talk to the South Koreans, knowing that since he's talking to the South Koreans, he's really talking to Donald Trump. And when Donald Trump gets nitty-gritty with him and talks like a street guy, well, Donald Trump is hiding this stuff, and they're all shocked on the radio and this and that because, you know what? Donald's being real. He's telling them like it is. It's like we're talking right now. He's telling them what's happening, Mm-hmm. No, enough of this crap, because this one's got a foundation, that got a foundation, this is given for this and given for that. Did you realize we got the biggest economy in the world, but we're always asking the middle-class people for money to give and donate and do this and do that? Why? Because they're living off your money, and so are the poor. So in other words, without a middle class, you're a banana republic. So
California is openly saying they don't want a middle class.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can't have two classes. You got to have three classes. One supports the other two classes. Let's be serious here. I mean, because how would you know who's really rich and who's not? So Trump's a billionaire guy who acts like a guy that's a regular on the street, and he's a great guy. I mean, if you just look at him and take him for what he is, he doesn't care about them. He's doing the right thing for the people. He comes right to the people and tweets like you do, like everybody else does. So if he makes a mistake, so what? These guys are cheating. What, are they going to all be in high three-button pea suits and all that vested, and that means they're somebody? Or if somebody
we're all human beings,
and say, wow, he's a judge, he can't be sued. Well, let me tell you something. If he does his capacity up there and he's not acting like a judge, he's no longer a judge. He can be sued. So that, everybody doesn't realize that. I see so many people going there and so scared, you know what I mean? Like, we used to go there and watch the cases after we got involved with this. And we were calling the shots on what was going to happen, what was going to say, what's going to be. So you think about this in a court case. You go into the courtroom, everybody's against you, including your own lawyer. You ain't got a shot in hell, you know what I mean? And they want to give you what they want to give you, because one lawyer told me off the cuff, he says, in case they're all figured out already how much they can give you and what they can do and blah, 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 and all that, you know. And basically that's the way it works. And this guy should have never started with you yesterday. I wouldn't have been saying all that.
I don't know if people can hear in the background, but I got a big bear sleeping on my couch.
What I'm saying, it makes sense. The only thing is common sense. Yeah. When you go to the court, a lot of lawyers, I bet there's a lot of people out there listening saying, my lawyer said the same thing to me, you can do more than I can do. Well, if I can do more than you can do, what am I paying you for? You know what I mean? So, in other words, just think about that. But see, some lawyers have got to tell the truth because sometimes, you know, to you can't lie enough. Don't forget, when you're telling a lie, you're lying about the truth. So the point is, at the end, it'll all come out because it stretches. On one side, you'll see where it bends too much. And that's how you do it. That's why.
So we've got all of these. We've got the New York Police Department that has all this allegedly has all this evidence against Hillary Clinton. And
yeah, but see,
how do we reconcile that we have a judicial system when somebody like her?
This is what makes it rough now. Then you're exposing people around her. And then it gets into the game that everybody's going to get caught up in this. It's like the court. You got to understand. When you're working in the court and they find out that the court reporter's cheating, everybody thinks, well, she'll change the transcript. She's not changing them. She turns them over after the case to the other side. It takes you long to get them, and they change them. And then she sells them to you. Her thing is selling you the wrong stuff. See, that's the point. Because you got to figure out common sense. She don't know what the other side wants changed. She's just a court reporter. And she goes along with it because she wants to keep her job. See, I mean, let's be real here. It's the same thing with a lawyer, with everybody else. It all comes down to patronage. And that makes patronage a crime. That's what do
you think we need another Nuremberg trial?
I don't know how they're going to do this, but there's going to be, there should be a change. 18 should be a good year, you know what I mean? So, you know, it should be okay because things will be changing, and then when everybody starts getting money in their back and all whistling a happy tune and walking around, that's why everybody talks so crazy on TV, like, he's demented, this is demented. How could a guy be demented if he made all this money? You know, all this stuff. And I mean, I'm sure we're like being demented like that. You know?
I mean, how can a legitimate psychiatrist go on, make a public statement like that without even doing an evaluation? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. How can a licensed...
They like to do that a lot of times. They'll knock us off phone calls and stuff. I don't know why they do that. That's so silly.
Well, yeah, they call me during the show because, well, I usually have Skype that I like to do my interviews with, but I know you don't use the internet very much, so
it's, what was it? Tell everybody
that way they can't keep calling and interrupting the broadcast. Go
ahead, say that again.
Well, no, I like to use Skype if you can arrange it with Bill, because then that way...
We'll do that. Well, as soon as we get out of this, we should be getting out of this pretty soon.
Because when I use phones, they call incessantly. Yeah.
Because you know what? You can subpoena anybody's email. You can subpoena anything. See, people don't understand that. So when you basically stay to the phone and you talk, let them listen to what I'm saying. Prove it in that I'm wrong. I don't care. Come on. You know what I mean? Then eventually they can't do that because they're going to hurt bigger people. See, so that's like we're talking about Hillary. You say, why are they doing this with Hillary? Well, they've been doing it for the last 3 administrations, doing crap like that. So they're in that game, and he didn't play their game, Trump. He was with the people. He's not playing their game. So, of course, here's what you do in court. When this is what the government does, or the city, or whatever you want to call it. When you got the facts, they argue the evidence. When you got the facts and evidence, they say you're crazy. See, because they got nothing else to say. And basically, you got to realize that once you start finding out there's cheating going on, the cheating's got to go through a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so that's the campaign right now against me, that I'm quote unquote crazy because I set out and did this. But I feel like if I stop, then I become more of a target. And, by documenting these bad apples, within our system, within the Child Protective Services and the FBI and the police force. By documenting these bad apples, we get to see it's not civilians committing these crimes. And this is what I keep telling the people. You know, it's not civilians that are trafficking the children.
No, of course not. I mean, how could they get away with it this long if the government wanted to do something? Let's be serious here. I mean, but, you know, we got to have bad apples all over the barrel, and everybody starts making money, and if they keep it going their way that it's going, they let it slide. And,
I mean, I have mad respect. I have mad respect, Eugene, for the good FBI agents, the good police officers out there trying to do a good...
I mean, that's what I'm not hearing you close, but that's okay. I can make some of your stuff out. Better one.
Yeah, I have huge respect for those people, but
what
this...
you're saying is correct about trafficking. Now, think about this, Amy. Before we came out there and talked to you, they never knew there were tapes in the children's cases, did they?
No.
And everybody tell you, no, there's no tapes. Well, it's in the budget. Read your budget, idiot. And the person that's telling you that is already breaking the law, but she's told to tell you that. But when you went there and you were cool, I got to admit that, when you were tapping on the mic and showed it was the receiver.
I tapped on the mic to make a point because when you go up to the... Yeah.
12, Bill says, you don't have to do that, Eugene. He said, that mic is just for the tape recorder. So he admitted it. See, so if you act a little, you know, like you bring it down to your level, he's got to come down. Now remember this. When someone's acting like a lawyer and acting real important and real intelligent, writing all this stuff out, you're just playing into their game. When you write down and you act like a regular person, then they got to come down to your game.
Well, I tapped on the mic when I went up to the yeah. When I went up, I want to interject. Can I interject? I'm sorry. When I was in court, Eugene is talking about when I was in court. And I went up to I think I asked several times for my audio tapes on the record. And I sat, you know, in the testimony booth. And there's clearly a mic and audio and a recorder set up. And so I tapped on the mic and I turned and I asked the judge for my master audio tapes.
Go ahead. This is where it gets funny. Go ahead.
And the judge shut down the hearing for a break, and the bailiff escorted me out of the courtroom, and I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, yes, you did. See, you got to understand what you did wrong. Is maybe not the rules you did wrong or broke the law. It's you messed up their game. See, that's your point. Go ahead, Amy.
That's one of those things that they'll probably black off the record.
Saying she's obsessed with the tapes, and then they gave you the child, and that's your kid. See, and that's how it works, because they couldn't have you go in there and make us think about that, because they didn't know what they were doing at first. Now they tell everybody there's no tapes, there's no this, there's no that. Well, if some judge tells you and writes on a writ of certiorari, I can't give you your tapes because everybody will want their tapes and they'll be playing them on TV every night. Well, the point would be, why would a judge and why would anybody want to play tapes of cases every night on TV unless there was something wrong with them, right, Amy? Mm-hmm. That's common sense. They don't match. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, I can hear you real good now.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason this is early in the morning before the games get on and stuff like that, and I just was mad that last night you had to tell me that, and we had to get into that with these stupid people, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I just want to come on because it's been like building up, Eugene, and I really appreciate you giving me this time on an early Saturday morning. I know you're a very busy man.
Sunday morning. This is Sunday morning. I won't be busy
Sunday morning. I'm sorry. It's January 7th.
Then we can, have dinner or have something like that, whatever. But the point is, don't worry about anything. I mean, it's silly to worry. Life's too short for a lot of people. I mean, you don't know how long you got or what you got, and you're going to worry about
and I honestly, when I first set out doing this, I mean, I knew that there was something wrong in the system. I knew that it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know that it was going to escalate to this point, but the blog speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah, and the evidence that we'll turn over to you that we got, and you can show on your show and stuff like that. It'll show you right then and there. You have to be stupid not to understand it. I mean, here, listen to this transcript now. The transcript we got, and I still didn't tell anybody about this, even my people yet, you know, but I'm going to break it on you, is we can show they're fraud because they're done by two different fonts on the typewriters, and that's when they were doing this stuff. And they got numbers on one side of the page on one day, and on the other days they get the number on the other side of the page, showing that it can't be from the same tape recorder. I mean, same, whatever she's typing with, you know. And then basically, we knew from talking to court reporters and being friendly with everybody. See, when you get friendly with everybody and you're a nice person, you can get along, they show you. They open up the thing and show that there used to be tapes in there. Now they're doing a different electrical system. But they have to keep a record. And what Judge Posner says, now that's Judge Posner out of Chicago, and he was a top federal judge here and a real intelligent guy, and he didn't want to be a judge because when I talked with him at Hyde Park with Arnett, he says he didn't want to get involved in this, but they wanted somebody in the business that he was in to be a judge.
Well, okay, before I wrap it up, because we're at the bottom of the hour.
It's in the book. I mean, you can get the paper out. We'll give it to you anyway. The only real recording of anything is your tape and your master tape. Don't forget when the court reporter.
But Eugene, before one last question before I wrap it up, because we're at the bottom of the hour. One last question for you. Why, in this day and age, in 2018, why do we not have cameras in the court? Why do we not afford people their audio?
Well, what do you think? Let's be serious here, because it
I know it's a stupid question, but for the listeners.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let them just use common sense.
Exactly. You know, I thank you so much for coming on the show, and you're always.
Amy. I mean, you know, I didn't mind getting up early and talk to you because yesterday I didn't get much sleep because I was wondering about these people saying that. When I found out it was really true that the guy did threaten you, I mean, that is true now. So the point is, I thought at first they were just playing a game, but hey, man, you know, see, when you reroute something through the Dominican Republic to you to scare you, that's really bad news. Let those people that are in the United States that are mad at you talk face to face what they don't like about you. What the hell? That's a free country. You can say what you want. They can say what they want. You know what I'm saying, Amy?
Uh-huh.
So, you know, I know you're tired. You got to rest and all that, but it's fun talking with you, and it's like being in regular, having lunch and talking straight with you. And stuff
yeah,
like that.
it's always a pleasure, and I love the radio show, and I'm very open, and I document a lot on the Porthole to Justice, and I have a template available to the children and families that are involved in the juvenile court system, a template citing the First Amendment, and you can use it for your case, and it's available in the Porthole to Justice. Eugene's book is called The Death of the Justice System, and that's available on Amazon.com. Eugene, thank you so much for coming on the show.
What I wanted to tell you, really, is Amy, you got to realize that what you're saying is totally correct on all this stuff. And if they just give themselves time to think about this in common sense, they'll know you're right. And we'll talk about, some more things next time and tell you how this stuff works and that. Because this is just the tip of the iceberg what we're talking about today.
Uh-huh.
So your show is really good, and I appreciate being on with you because you're at least a straight shooter. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, totally. Thank you for coming on, Eugene.
But that's okay. And don't worry about those phone calls. You know what I mean? At least that means, hey, think about the good part of this. That makes you important that they got to threaten you. So, hey, you don't even know how much your word is by your enemies. When you got big enemies and enemies that have to threaten you, then it must mean you're doing something good, right?
Well, that's the goal, and all month long I'm trying to be very bold and brave so that I can promote Trump's new executive order against human trafficking and modern day slavery, and
this is what I meant to tell you too, not to keep you on, but here's the point. Everybody tells you that's a different court, this is a different court. They're all the same courts. Look, the federal court takes over every other court, okay? Except for death or whatever you want to call it. But here's the point. Everything comes down to the Supreme Court. It goes through all the district courts to the Supreme Court from every court. So how can my case or anybody's case not be used by anybody? It makes no sense. You know what I mean, Amy?
Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense that in 2018 we don't have cameras and audio in the court, and the clerks aren't selling DVDs for $7 of their transcripts.
That helps you.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a day and age, Eugene, where some courts aren't even.
Children are really a bad thing. I mean, I never knew that. I learned from you, so thanks, Amy. I didn't know about that, because I didn't have no kids and all like that. So basically, you taught me a lot, so it can help you out too.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll have you on the show again, and keep me posted on your case. It is Eugene Zorich versus the city of Chicago.
But let me tell you now, on Westlaw and all that stuff, when they got the final decision, that's a fraud because they changed that, and we can prove that, and we're going to send this guy out this week to tell Justine and all them that if they want to keep that on there, it's not what happened. They changed that. And we can prove that. So there's no problem with that. See, because if you prove any kind of fraud, it vitiates the case is going out the door. Well, we got about 100 things because Bill was working on this. And he's wondering, what should I give him? What should I give him? He said, there's so many good stuff here. I don't know which one's better than the other one. And I says, he said, give him 10 good ones or 5 good ones, because it only takes one to overturn a case. And then we'll throw the whole other 2,900 or whatever we got in there on something else. And we were laughing.
Bill Fabricius, we call him Professor Fabricius.
After a while, he was trying to figure out what was real.
That guy.
It's really funny.
We got to get him on the show.
I can say that and I wrote an affidavit on that. So if they want to challenge me. Go ahead. I don't care. I can beat you. I can beat them. They lie.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. And they gave us the stuff. So it's your own fault for giving us the stuff and for them guys signing it. You know what I mean, Amy?
Yeah.
Well, you signed it, and you're talking against each other like that.
You're a very busy businessman, and you've got above and beyond to make me feel safe and comfortable, and I thank you so much.
No, don't worry about that. I mean, like I said, we'll get over with this pretty soon because Trump's in there for a year, so he's got things set up. He's setting a new style of government in there that's dealing with the people at least, And here's what the people want. I'm going to be honest with you. I was talking to a lot of lawyers, and we talk, and we just shoot the shit to one another, too, even though they know who I am and who they are. And they'll talk to you because they have to tell. Everybody has to tell the truth eventually. Sometimes they let it out. They can't hold it in. So they'll tell you, all the people want is a fair shake and a fair trial and this and that, and they can't give it to them. See, that's ridiculous. See, so in other words, we'll go into how they do the cheating and how they have groups that change the transcript back to that later on. So your show will be very intelligent. And I dare anybody to tell me it's not true. I mean, just tell me, because I can just throw you out the evidence right on the internet, right over email, showing you this is right. And on top of it, it's not me saying it. It's you saying it. It's the guys that are saying that it ain't true saying it themselves.
Yeah.
See, because I always learned that.
Well, I'm not out there. I'm not out there. I'm not one of these Pizzagate investigators. I'm not out there throwing, a noodle on the wall to see what sticks. I'm actually documenting and profiling.
Everything is, I guess the last name or whatever it is, and that might not be my real one, but the point is the last name is out there, and it means pattern. And see, I'm real good at following patterns. I can throw shit up on a wall from like 20, 30 years ago and find out who's doing what to who because it follows a certain pattern. And if you know that pattern, you can break every case. See, that's no problem to that. See, you just got to follow up on that. And you know what? Even if they change your transcripts, you can find out where in the transcript it's been changed because you follow how it does it. You read between the lines.
Well, and I had a friend of mine on the show. He has an emollient clause in the courts right now, and we're going over our time, so I'm just gonna go over the time lot, but. He's filed an emollients clause. I just want to help you because they made us mad that they were picking on you like that. When I found out it was real, boy, that really got me hot. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would if I knew it was a joke or something like that. I would never have bothered you. You know what I mean? It was like. Yeah, I know. Because that's what I told my friends up there. I says, hey. This bothers me because this is a personal friend, And I says, they were saying, well, get on with this. We got to do this. Okay, fine. But let's straighten this out because this is crazy. You know what I mean? This is really crazy. And believe
believe me, when you pick on people like that have friends and stuff like that, you don't know what you're doing. You're out of your mind here. I mean, you're out of your league. But anyway, that's just me and you talking. And like I said, if anybody wants to challenge anything I'm saying, you can do it.
Yeah.
David, you write an affidavit, we'll see who's right.
Well, maybe we'll save it for another show because we're really over time. But Eugene, thank you so much.
Okay. But I like talking to you, Amy. I'll talk to you when you're done.
Okay. All right. Everybody, this has been another episode of the Porthole to Justice. It is January 7th, Sunday afternoon. And you can subscribe to my show on Spreaker.com. It is absolutely free. And you can download the app so that you can get email notifications of when I go live. Also, I'm on Spreaker and Twitter and as well as Instagram. All right, guys, this has been another episode of Porthole to Justice off the cuff.